Oh, why? Let's ride!
What are you doing?
I'm in a pink room. I'm wearing a green shirt, and a certain movie came out. Oh my God, the stars are aligning. Anyways, welcome to Four Square Sports, ladies and gentlemen. Episode number 12 of The Mighty Have Fallen. We got a lot to disclose as far as sports concerns, as far as shows concerns, but all our good stuff. Anyways, Matt Sirianni, Kevin Zellis, co-host John Walsh, Alec Nava, Alex vibing to some music. How you doing, everybody?
Whew. Let's go! Shout out to the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, USL champions. How about that?
Must feel really damn good, and I know Kevin's probably had a rough day. You can see the look on his face.
I'm glad Alec is happy because I certainly am not.
And then how's John feeling today?
Wicked for good.
There you go.
Oh, that movie.
It's funny. I just got back from seeing it. That's hence why the color I'm in. But anyways, we got to get into a lot of stuff. We're going to get into baseball to start because Major League Baseball season ended, but there are already a lot of moving parts that are projected to go into certain places. The winter meetings are upon us as we speak. And one thing that I want to mention is qualifying offers. Why am I mentioning qualifying offers? Because several players across the league, like Gleyber Torres, like Trent Grisham, surprisingly, like Shota Imanaga and Brandon Woodruff, have signed their qualifying offers. Now, what's a qualifying offer? A qualifying offer is a short one-year contract that's going to give you like $20-something million for that 1 year that you can sign and stay with the team. It's almost like a franchise tag. Think of it that way in Major League Baseball. And that's what these players did. They signed a 1-year deal and to stay with the club. And what that really does is it creates a little bit of stability for the next year, but it also takes your eye off the prize for a high-profile free agent, like a Kyle Tucker, like a Cody Bellinger, if you get what I'm saying. I remember when the Trent Grisham thing happened, I talked to Kev about it, and he wasn't entirely thrilled about it, but on the financial side of things, it did help.
Yeah, so like I see a lot of like Yankee fans like losing their minds over this, and I get that side because like it's $22 million for just 1 year is a lot of money, especially for Trent Grisham's case. But you got to keep in mind another thing is he had pretty much a career year, and he had way more starts at the leadoff position. He's had a ton of home runs. Again, his average isn't there, but he's been A+ defender out in center field. He's been clutch all year. And the postseason, he was garbage. I mean, but that's besides the point. But I also look at it on the more positive side is that the good thing about it is it's only for 1 year, so you're not really married to this guy. It's not you don't have to pay him for multiple years, and you also have to keep in mind that there could be a potential lockout for 2027. So that also kind of plays a factor into that as well. And like I'm like kind of like on it. I'm like okay, like I'm cool with this if he does at least not like sort of repeating what he did last year, but at least close to it, or if this doesn't impede the Yankees because of that $22 million to go out and get more than just bringing Cody Bellinger back, which I hope they still do. So I'm kind of like on it.
That's one of the things that's looming up in the air for the Yankees is can they bring Cody Bellinger back? Because like Trent Grisham, Cody had a phenomenal year hitting the baseball. In the postseason, he disappeared. But I've heard rumors that the Dodgers are looking to bring him back possibly, which God for the life of me, please don't do it. And among other things, like we're not going to get Paul Goldschmidt back. He signed his 1-year deal. We're probably going to let him go. How first base turns out, whether or not we bring in Pete Alonso or whether we make Ben Rice our full-time first baseman. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts on that position, but for other teams. Now, as far as other people like Gleyber Torres, this was okay. I mean, he was the Tigers' one of their best batters, and he batted like 259, which is not fantastic by any means for their best batter. But then Shota Imanaga, very good pitcher. And then Brandon Woodruff, we talked to Lily Schumacher about this because Brandon Woodruff's name came up as a possible trade option. So this was very fascinating. John, what would you say if Brandon Woodruff did sign this qualifying offer and then all of a sudden at the deadline, he probably moves somewhere else?
I mean, that's the name of the game. He signs a 1-year contract and then goes somewhere else to play for a year. I mean, it's small chess. It's not 4D chess. I don't think there's much to say about it.
There really isn't. Like when we get to the winter meetings, I think there's gonna be more said and more traction with what's going on. But the qualifying offers are definitely interesting. Glaber and then Shota Imanaga, like I said, one of the Cubs' better pitchers, I would say. So I thought it was smart for the Cubs to bring him back. And then we'll get into the free agents in a little bit, but I want to also mention a couple of trades that happened. For instance, Mauricio Dubon was traded from the Astros to the Atlanta Braves. I thought that was a really good pickup by Atlanta. Houston, is missed the playoffs this year. They're kind of falling off a little bit. They're facing a real bit of a reality check. Atlanta needed a good all-around player that could come in as utility, and I think Mauricio Dubon provides everything that they want. And the Braves, for a team that's under new management, looking to make an impact, and this is it. Alec, when it comes to this, can Atlanta get back on track after missing the postseason entirely last season?
For starters, this is an definite upgrade on their infield by getting Dubon, who instantly improves that infield. He spent nearly 4 years after he was initially acquired. It was a minor trade with the Giants, but that was a nice pickup from Houston where he won 2 utility Gold Glove awards. Though I'm still not bitter about him winning it over Ernie Clement. But that light bat is a significant upgrade over what Nick Allen brings to the table. Allen doesn't have a single home run in his trip to the dish this past season. He was easily one of the worst hitters in the league. Not team, the league. Dubon's not likely to be that caliber of defender as Allen is, even though Allen is a stout defender. But the StatCast has graded Dubon as a plus defender in his innings over at any infield position, whether it be second, third, or even shortstop. We don't know if he's going to fit in at either second or short, but at least he's going to provide an upgrade at the plate compared to what Allen brought. And maybe he could help out Ozzie Albies as well, should that help out, because Austin Riley's locked him onto third base on a full-time basis. Allen is not going to play at shortstop unless there's an injury to Jeremy Pena, but he's an otherwise glove-only option at second base if they're going to rest Jose Altuve for some time or have him slot to the outfield. But Atlanta is a nice pickup for if they want to bounce back from a dismal, and that's putting it lightly, season.
Yeah. I think Atlanta did everything they had to do. They tried to play their cards wisely. Houston, how they're going to set things up with their infield and outfield, like their setup defensively is going to change significantly. And I think you're going to see an impact for the bad side for Houston for sure. And Atlanta, I think they're on the come up. Like Ozzie Albies could use some support in the lineup. It helps Ronald Acuna Jr. out a little bit. Like it's all good stuff. And I think that Atlanta's going to benefit. Now, we also saw Taylor Ward get traded by the Angels to the Orioles. Another really underrated player, one of the better bats in the Angels lineup, going to Baltimore, another team that had a disappointing season this year. And I think that this absolutely provides stability, gives them depth. Baltimore is going to need to bounce back because they did not have a really good season at all. And the bats were part of it. And I think another part of it was probably losing, oh God. What are the Blue Jays got?
Yeah, I thought the Angels got Grayson Rodriguez in the trade.
Yeah, they got Grayson Rodriguez as well. And then I'm trying to think, who was the guy that went to Toronto that was New Orleans? Oh, it's killing me.
Oh, Santander?
Yeah, losing Anthony Santander also didn't help at all. And I think as a result, you saw a crumbling product. And Baltimore needs to bounce back in a big way. We'll see how it happens. And then Grayson Rodriguez, story of it all, that's also something to keep an eye on. But winter meetings are going to be something. I mean, also these big-time free agents. And speaking of said free agents, we'll get into that right now as far as the big names out there. We mentioned Kyle Tucker, but there's a lot more pieces to the puzzle. For instance, first baseman Pete Alonso is the one name that jumps out immediately. There are rumors that he might go across town to the Yankees but I don't know if anyone's going to offer him. Because if you remember last offseason, Pete Alonso didn't get a contract and basically begged the Mets to sign him back. And he got his wish. Where do you guys think Pete Alonso ends up after this offseason? I'm going to start with Kevin on this one.
I've heard a ton of rumors saying that he's probably going to go to Boston, which I hope doesn't really happen because they have already got Jaron Duran locked up there at first base. So I'm not sure why they would even pursue a guy like Pete Alonso, because I would imagine they would try to re-sign Alex Bregman at third base, who opted out of his contract. So I would try to lock up Bregman first, because honestly, I don't think that Boston can get both of them anyway. I think they can get one or the other. I would go for Bregman if I were them. But also, I feel like Pete Alonso goes back to the Mets because, like, I think Dave Stearns and Cohen are not afraid to pay the man. But also at the same time, I mean, like, I could also see possibly maybe the Blue Jays, but they already have Vlad at first, so that really doesn't make sense to me. Those rumors,
Right?
I say he goes back to the Mets, but obviously on a bigger. Slightly bigger offer than what he was offered last time when he kind of begged the Mets to sign back. I can't imagine the Mets just letting a guy like Alonso walk, because I think he provides a lot of stability in that lineup. He's one of the big three in that lineup now, with him, Lindor, and Soto. So I would imagine that the Mets would do everything they can to bring a guy like him back.
I mean, yes, the Steve Cohen money factor is a big thing that people have to keep an eye on, because that guy could literally spend anything he wants on any player. He won't care how much he spends as long as they win, which the Mets did not make the playoffs, but first year of the Juan Soto experiment didn't really go well. Alec, where do you see Pete Alonso going this offseason?
I feel there are only two possible destinations for me. Either he stays with the Mets, or if he were to leave, the only place I could really see him going to is the Red Sox. But that is if they lose Alex Bregman in free agency. In the case of Boston, in that case, they could use Marcelo Mayer at third base on a full-time basis and Roman Anthony over at right field if they were to trade away Wilyer Abreu. But first basemen of Alonso's caliber are very rare in the free agent market, and they rarely get exorbitant deals. Sure, he could probably join Schwarber as a full-time DH, but even then, you can make a pretty good case for the former Alonso as a better investment, because Alonso strikes out less than Schwarber, and he's not eligible for a qualifying offer.
That's a good point. John, your thoughts?
Well, I agree with what Kevin and Alex said, but I think what really needs to happen is for him to go to the Yankees, and then you move Volpe over to first and put him in as shortstop.
Whoa.
I don't know about that.
Just to piss Kevin off.
Okay, if it's to piss Kevin off, then that's
that didn't really piss me off. It just kind of confused me, you know?
Yeah. If anything, we're more confused by your logic, John. If anything, why would you move a career first baseman over to short?
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense.
That doesn't sit well with me, to be honest.
Yeah, no.
I just wanted to get Volpe's name out there. That's all it was.
Oh God.
Oh, we'll talk about him later. Don't worry.
We'll get to this guy soon.
Come on, get out of here, John.
We're gonna stick to first baseman. Another interesting one. Josh Naylor's name is up there on the free agent market. He signed that 5-year deal with Seattle after being traded there from Cleveland. This is an interesting scenario that I didn't think would be possible. John, I'm gonna start with you. What happens?
Well, I think Naylor proved his value in that very offensive lineup. And this was a major signing coming after the money they just paid Cal Raleigh. So to me, it indicates the Mariners' willingness to chase a World Series next year. This is, to me, that's what the indication I get with this contract. They are serious about continuing to go deep into the playoffs every year in October, and they're putting their money where their mouth is.
And Seattle really did have a chance. They almost made their first World Series ever, which I think is would have been a big thing for them. They got as far as they have since 2001, and I think if they want to keep up their going, they got to try and bring back as many people as they possibly can. Kevin, what do you think? What happens to Josh Naylor this offseason?
Yeah, I think it's a very good signing, but by Seattle, I think like John said, his production and the value that he provided in the short time that he was there in the later stages of the regular season and into what he did in the postseason with Seattle, I think it's a plus signing as far as I'm concerned to lock him up and to make sure that top end of the lineup has like the batting production that you would want from a guy like Naylor who has a lot of pop and he can provide a great value at the plate, a great defender as well at first base. So I think it was a great signing.
All right, Alec.
As I mentioned time and time again, and with Naylor, his big revelation was the base stealing that he has had for someone who's the second and slowest base running speed in the MLB. Incredibly disciplined, a good defender, and one of the best at his position at first base. And there are multiple reasons behind the lack of big free agent strikes for first baseman. The infamous deal with Robinson Cano could have led to some organizational wariness. But this was a move that Seattle had to make because Naylor is easily their cornerstone at first base. He solidified that. I feel they're likely to move on from Eugenio Suarez after he disappointed after the trade deadline. So you think that he will go after someone like Munetaka Murakami for third base. But Naylor is especially important because of the stats that he put up down the stretch. And this kind of success made the Mariners want to more or less bring the band back together for 26. No small feat for Naylor, who should be in the number 4 spot moving forward. But good things are here.
Yeah. Look, I think it's a really interesting like Naylor's been around for a long time. He was a postseason killer with the Guardians, and he brought that mentality to Seattle. And like I said, I think it would be travesty for Seattle if they were to lose him as well as other people. Now, another name I want to bring up, and this guy I've brought up his name before, Kyle Tucker. If you're a good friend of mine, your name is Laura Antonio. I already know what you're thinking when it comes to Kyle Tucker. I'm going to get this out of the way. You're either going to get Kyle Tucker or Cody Bellinger, not both. If you get both, then you're in for financial hell. Because I'm going to put this out there. The Dodgers are doing what the Yankees did in the 90s, which is pay a bunch of money for people that they really couldn't afford, but the Yankees were able to persuade these players to come there anyway. And even if it was for a little less money, the Yankees were able to persuade. That's what the Dodgers are doing now. Everyone wants to come aboard. And you know what? Fine. But this can't be the boss level team where it's like you got to beat them in the World Series in order to win a championship. So, Kyle Tucker, I'm going to start with Kevin here. What happens to this man?
To be honest, it's kind of a wild card to me for Kyle Tucker because, like, you've heard all the rumors about, like, you know, the Yankees pursuing him, Mets, Dodgers, Blue Jays, all the usual suspects, right?
Yep.
And then I look at it, and then, like, if I'm the Yankees, I mean, like, if Cody Bellinger is the first priority, I don't understand why that they're even saying that the Yankees are like a top suitor. Because, like, if you give Cody Bellinger, you might not even be able to make like any more moves, maybe like one more major move. Because, like, if Hal Steinbrenner is really trying to get the payroll under $300 million, which I think is stupid, I think they should be going over and going all in this year, and then see if you can get a guy like Kyle Tucker if you can't link Cody Bellinger. But with Kyle Tucker, like with the Dodgers thing, the Dodgers don't need him. That's the thing. They don't need. To be honest, I don't think that they would even go for a guy like Tucker because why would you? Like, you already have everything that you need. I understand, like, the you want to upgrade out of an outfield instead of Andy Paez out there, but, like, at the same time, you really don't need him. I think the bullpen is something that I think you should really focus on. I think that should be the key priority for them because, as Alec has mentioned, like before when we discussed them in the postseason, their bullpen was kind of like suspect here and there, especially with like Trinan. So I would advise them, if I were them, to go for a top end reliever instead of trying to go all in on Kyle Tucker. Because if you go for Kyle Tucker, you're already putting yourselves into more financial hell that you're putting yourselves in with all these deferred contracts that you're getting. So I don't see a reason why the Dodgers should be going after Kyle Tucker in this sense.
This is going to be Andrew Freeman's mindset. We don't need him. We don't need him. We definitely don't need him. We don't need him. We don't need him. We
You
don't need him. We don't need him.
You don't need him.
We need him.
No, you don't.
You almost snuck that into the last episode.
I
man.
almost did, and I stopped myself before I could even do it.
Oh man.
Anyway, John, what do you think happens to Kyle Tucker?
Well, I can't argue with what anything Kevin just said. I mean, the I think the Yankees need to bite the bullet and spend. I don't think they need to go crazy and do deferred contracts like the Dodgers are doing. I think they're being smart about that aspect of it. But we watched last year where it was basically the Padres that were getting everybody that the Dodgers didn't buy or pay for, basically.
True.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing that again this offseason.
See, I like that mindset because that's exactly what the Padres did at the deadline. They got everyone they could. They traded away their farm system to do it, but they got everyone they could, and they still flopped. But that's a different story. Alec, what happens to Kyle Tucker this offseason?
In one way of what Kevin mentioned about upgrading an aspect of what is a weakness, yes, bullpen is the obvious one. The other one is outfield, in which I want to point to. Because Michael Conforto was the poster child of bad outfield play for the Dodgers. And they need someone to upgrade that outfield. And this is where Kyle Tucker comes in. Teoscar Hernandez was playing out of position at right field. He likes to play left field. If you get Kyle Tucker, you get someone who's a natural fit at right field and a former Gold Glover. Defensive metrics, however, have taken a dip over the past few years, but that shouldn't be a concern for the moment. You get someone who can slot at right field, who can later be a first baseman or a DH in the future. And that's when you think about life after Freddie Freeman, if Tucker were to make the switch to first base in the future. If you want to think about short-term and long-term fit, I would say the Dodgers would be the obvious choice.
Yeah. The signs are pointing to the Dodgers, and it looks inevitable, but I mean, crazy things can happen. I've heard that they're paying attention to Cody Bellinger a little bit more than Kyle Tucker. I think they're going to get either one or the other. They're not going to get both, but I think Kyle Tucker's more likely to come to LA than Cody. That's just how I feel.
Yeah.
Me personally. All right. Now I'm ready to get into the Baseball Hall of Fame aspect of it all. There are 27 people up on the ballot. 12 of them are first-timers. Now, the way the Baseball Hall of Fame works, you're going to get a maximum of 10 years on the ballot. If you get over 75% of the votes, you are in Cooperstown. If you go under 5% on the ballot, you are off the ballot completely. If you go over 5% but under 75%, you will get another chance on the ballot as long as you are within 10 years of eligibility. That's how it works. Now, I want to get into the obvious people that are on here still. Andrew Jones, who last year clocked in at 66%, and Carlos Beltran on his fourth year, who clocked in at 70% last year. Is there a chance we see either of those two guys get in this year? I'm going to start with John here.
Of the two, I probably like Beltran's chances better. Obviously, the vote shows that. I think it's more competitive to get in this year, though.
It very well could be. I think the problem with a lot of these people that are on the ballot is that you might get a lot of people over 5%, but you're not going to get a lot of people who get in. Like, I think, honestly, Andrew Jones on a second to last chance. He might get a little bit of a boost. Beltran should get over 75%. The problem that's going to loom over him is the Astro sign stealing scandal, which he was a part of. I think it's going to loom very large. Ken, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with the Beltran thing. That might impede him from getting votes. Is the sign stealing scandal? But I agree. I think Andrew Jones, he's kind of on his last legs in terms of getting in. I think like he's got a pretty good chance of getting in. So I definitely think that one of those two guys definitely gets in. I don't know if both get in, but I can definitely see a case where Andrew Jones might get in over him.
I can absolutely see that. I mean, he was a very good player. I mean, you look at his WAR 46.4, but then look at everything he's done. Like his batting average, Andrew Jones, I'm looking right now, is 254, which is not very bad. when it comes to that. I mean, it's above major league average today. But Andrew Jones was just consistent. I think that's the main thing that he has in his 17-year career. Beltran played 20 years, but he bounced around a lot of different teams. I want to get into underrated people that could go in. For instance, we got Felix Hernandez on his second year. He clocked into 20.5% last year. Then we got guys like Mark Buehrle, who clocked in 11.5% in his sixth year. And then you'll get some of the first timers. Like you look at, Daniel Murphy. You look at people like Ryan Braun, who has a decent shot. And you got other people like David Wright, who might not really make a lot of impact on the ballot, but is a good name to have on there. Alec, when you look at the ballot, who do you think could probably sneak in a couple percentage points increase from last year? Or do you think that there's any first timers that stand out to you?
Well, you mentioned Felix Hernandez, who is a second timer on this ballot. That's a really good one to have on this ballot, and sneakily could get some votes. Yeah, I remember he had a perfect game one time. He had that 1-0 win in which he pitched for Seattle and was one of the best pitchers in Mariners franchise history. The King should be a good pick over in this ballot. There's some others that also I see on this ballot that you haven't mentioned yet. Hunter Pence, good defender with the Giants in that dynasty under Bruce Bochy. Howie Kendrick, Cole Hamels, other good selections that could get some votes. And Dustin Pedroia, another one.
Dustin Pedroia is someone that I think a lot of people are going to sleep on. I think he was a better player than most people thought. I think he's part of those Boston teams that were really good in the early 2010s, and I think that he deserves some recognition, some credibility. I know David Ortiz gets a lot of the love for those teams, but I think Dustin is definitely someone that should be looked at when it comes to those Red Sox teams in the past.
I mean, let's not take away from when the Cardinals walked it off on the obstruction. Let's not forget that before that obstruction call, Pedroia made a really nice defensive play to get the second out at home.
He did. And you mentioned Felix Hernandez. You mentioned the perfect game he had. That was the last perfect game in Major League Baseball history until Domingo Germán did it in 2023. Yeah. Until Domingo Germán, that was the last person to have a perfect game.
Yep.
It's actually kind of amazing to hear the words Domingo Germán come out of my mouth. But
probably the most random perfect game ever.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously.
I will never forget that game. I stayed until 2 o'clock in the morning watching that game.
Oh, so did I. I videotaped myself watching it, yeah.
Didn't all Yankee fans videotape themselves doing that?
A perfect game, yeah, for sure.
Hey, listen, it's on the West Coast, but it was something. I can tell you that much. It was really good to see.
That's the last perfect game you're ever going to see at Oakland Coliseum.
Yeah, that's true.
Fisher. Sell the team already.
Oh, boy. Owners just don't learn, don't they? Next up, we're going to continue this conversation. We're going to go into the NBA for a little bit. So the Oklahoma City Thunder, if anyone wants to play them, good luck trying, because they have been dominant. They're at a amazing 15-1 record heading into today. They have beaten opponents pretty easily. The Western Conference is not as dominant as it once was, but it's damn sure talented. And oh my God, the margin of victory for the Oklahoma City Thunder, I'm going to look at it right now. They're averaging a 16.5-point margin of victory per game. So they're blowing teams out of the water. And that double overtime in the first two games of the season, they won in double overtime. They've been dominant ever since.
Oh, that first game showed it was literally a statement by both the Thunder and the Rockets. That what the Rockets said, we're here and we're not playing around this time. We'll get to them later.
Oh yeah. Now the Rockets have played some good basketball, but the Thunder have been really, really good. And I think another team that's really surprising, the Detroit Pistons, who coming in today were winners of 11 straight. They're playing the Bucks right now, and they're actually winning again 67-52, which might make it 12 in a row. Jake Hogger somewhere is literally going crazy right now. He's on vacation, but supposedly on vacation he's watching this and going, that's my Pistons. But good for Detroit. They put up a good product last year. They were the 16th in the East, and they had the Knicks on their heels last year, but look at them finding their footing. What has been the key to their success, Alec?
The key here is culture, a team culture built by JB Bickerstaff in which they built it from the ground up. It's hard to imagine that the same young core that lost 28 straight games 2 years ago is now one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. The floor has risen, but how high is the ceiling climbed? We know Cade Cunningham is getting some down ballot votes on the MVP list. And one of the big questions is with how the bench holds up. But let's put this in case in point. They dominated the Bulls, where their starting lineup consisted of Dennis Jenkins, Duncan Robinson, Ron Holland, Paul Reed, and Javonte Green. That's a testament to team culture and with their response to taking for accountability, that they take accountability and they want to win games. They play a physical brand of basketball because that's the identity of what Detroit basketball has to be. Bickerstaff has embraced that, and the players have embraced that. The talent pipeline is strong, that even the second unit or even the fringe rotation guys can keep teams afloat on any given night. And mind you, this is when they lost. This is after losing Malik Beasley in the offseason.
Right.
You know what their candidates for 6th man of the year? Their bench has more than filled in his absence, no matter who it is.
I feel like every Detroit team has some sort of culture that makes them gritty and determined to win games. That's what you're seeing. It's not just with the Lions, but also the Pistons, where what they lack in talent, they make up for in grit and determination. And I think that's what you're seeing out of the Pistons. That's what I like about this Pistons team. Now I want to get into another story, and actually I didn't even write this on the agenda, but I'm going to say anyway because it came out today. Chris Paul has played 21 seasons in the NBA, or this is going to be his 21st season in the NBA. He announced today that he is retiring at season's end after 12 All-Star appearances in a really decorated NBA career. Has not won an NBA Finals, and I highly doubt he's going to do it here. But I gotta come to Kevin on this one. When you look at Chris Paul, I mean, yeah, no championship success, but 12 All-Star appearances and probably one of the best point guards that you're going to see in our generation. What do you think his legacy will be?
I think his legacy is going to be, I mean, like, he's one of the best mid-range shooters ever. Call them the point god, you know, as like we like to call Chris Paul. I mean, Chris Paul is one of those players that you can always count on. Whether it's like you put him on a bad team that needs veteran leadership, you put him on a championship caliber team where he can provide some great points, and he can dish it out just with the best of them with his assists too. And like he just brings everything that you would want to the table for a team. I mean, he came so close in that 1 year when he was hurt in the Bucks in that 1 year, and then he just fell short against Giannis and company whenever they were at their peak. But Chris Paul, he's done it with not just the Suns. He's done it with pretty much almost every team that he has been at. He was close when he was with the Rockets too, and like him getting hurt and like almost beating the 2017 Warriors. And then like you saw how far that Rockets team and that kind of dynasty and that rivalry went. You saw what he did in his early years with when he was with the Clippers, and now obviously he's going to finish his career with the Clippers as well, back where he all started and back where he was at his peak in his career. He did it with the Hornets as well. He saw exactly what he did with them there. You even saw like a year with the Warriors that kind of was kind of like in a sense. But this is a guy that like when you talk about the game of basketball and like this sort of modern era, you think of guys like Chris Paul, which can provide those little intangibles along with like the skill and like mental abilities that he can bring to a team. So Chris Paul, definitely an illustrious career. It sucks that he probably isn't going to win a title, especially with the way that this Clippers team is currently constructed. But I'm happy that he's finally decided like okay, now is the time to retire. But I don't think anyone should take away from the fact that despite him not winning one, he's definitely one of this league's best.
Oh, fantastic career, no doubt. One thing that Alex mentioned earlier today, and I want to echo that sentiment. I don't know why he didn't retire over the summer. He could have easily done that and walked away then, and then he would have walked out in a pretty good mindset. And instead, he's on a Clippers team that's struggling. They're pretty bad, and he's got to waste away his last year there. But still, like I said, a great career. John, when you hear the name Chris Paul, do you think that he's probably one of the best point guards you've seen in the NBA?
So, I mean, when you think about Chris Paul, he's up there, right? He's up there with all of the point guards of the last two generations. I'm thinking of Kidd. I'm thinking of uh, Stockton. Those
Yeah.
are the names that come to
Stockton,
my
yeah.
mind when I think of Chris Paul and elite Hall of Fame style point guards. So I mean that's what he goes back to. That's the type of player he is. I'm actually surprised that he lasted this long
Mm,
after going to New Orleans and playing with the Pelicans, being with the Suns.
right.
Um, he's had a lot of teams, different looks, different styles, and he's continued that greatness. So I think he's a future Hall of Famer. It's sad to see him exit the way that he's going to go out. Um, I wish he could go play for the Knicks or the Celtics and help them get to the playoffs
Yeah.
and maybe win one at the end of the year. But I don't think that's the case. So um, it's going to be history when he walks off the court for the last time.
Oh, it's going to be cinema when he walks off the court for the last time. It might not be a storybook ending for Chris Paul, and it's sad to say it will never be a storybook ending for Chris Paul, but I think that throughout every team that he's been on, throughout every game he's played, he's stayed true to himself, and he's never really shied down from giving it his all. And I think the last time he really could have walked away, I'm not saying the year that they lost to the Bucks in the finals when he was with the Suns, but the year after that. It was his 36th birthday. They fell short in Game 7 against the Mavericks, and they failed to make the Western Conference Finals. It could have been over there, but he wanted to keep going. And you know what? I respect him.
Real quickly, I know John mentioned it about comparing Chris Paul to John Stockton. This year, he just passed Jason Kidd to be second all time in assists behind John Stockton. So a great achievement for Chris Paul to have that this year as well.
He's well rounded. He's well rounded,
Yep.
and he's a very versatile basketball player, and it's amazing what he was able to do. From one old guy to another, we're gonna go to a guy who finally took the floor on his 23rd season. We're talking about LeBron James. Took his floor for the first time for the Los Angeles Lakers, his 23rd season, after missing over a month with injuries. Lakers are in pretty good position right now. It's the Luka Doncic show at this point in LA, but LeBron just somehow likes to keep going and likes to rub in people's face that this guy is still here. And Lakers are 11-4, but I don't think he's going to be really a big necessity at this point. At this point, it's probably just theater. At this point, that LeBron is here, but good to see him on the floor, I guess, right, Alec?
Well, there's a saying that unlike previous teams where the team is built around him, this team is built around Luka Doncic. And what LeBron loses in scoring and athleticism, he gains in IQ. Yeah, he wants to make the right play. LeBron has a reputation for being a primary ball handler, but he's not the primary ball handler anymore at that time. This will be Luka. He and Austin Reeves can handle the bulk of the individual creation, but they do it their way. LeBron is basically the player coach of the team. A lot of dribbling, a lot of sidekick, a lot of possessions, which role players are stationary, and that's effective when ball handlers are good, but it risks seeping into the way everyone else plays. But as time passes, we'll see LeBron get more comfortable playing his style of basketball as he gets healthier. The conditioning is a work in progress for him, but the Lakers, they would be happy to have him in his services because he reads what each defense looks and reads the next move that the defense makes. He may not be what he once was, but every team needs a leader, and he is that leader.
Absolutely true. I mean, listen, LeBron James, as much as a lot of people don't like him across the NBA, he is very knowledgeable and he's very creative and he's very smart. And I think this young Lakers team, Austin Reeves, you mentioned before, is having a really good start to the year. Luka's showing a Luka ball, even though the guy is not in the best physical shape ever. He's still playing lights out. And having LeBron as like a voice to talk to, I think it'd be beneficial for this Laker team going forward, even when he retires. Whatever he decides to do next, I have no idea. Maybe he may be part of Lakers ownership or maybe part of the staff. I mean, who knows? I mean, LeBron can do whatever he wants, but at the end of the day, he's valuable. And I think that's what this Laker team needs, a valuable asset.
It's not baby powder anymore that he's tossing up. It's powdered sugar because his career with the Lakers is cooked.
Pretty much.
Well,
He spent the last month on the G League.
but he's still cooking up some nice W's with the rest of the Lakers as the time passes.
You might as well call him a hash-slinging slasher.
It's funny that LeBron was playing in the G League because that's where his son should be playing. Because I still can't believe that his son is still playing in the National Basketball Association, and yet a guy like Mac McClung, who has been doing really good with the G League for years, he got called up by the Pacers for like a few games, played good with the games that he played. Immediately waive him. Yeah, he's rotting in the G League while Ronnie James is barely doing anything in the NBA.
And Matt McClung has won a couple slam dunk contests.
Exactly.
And by the way, hasn't Bronny been assigned to the G League just recently?
I don't think so. I think he's still on the active roster for the Lakers. Last box score I checked, he was still on the bench.
Okay, because I'm reading from Yahoo that he was heading to play for South Bay.
Oh.
Okay, and then he'll play for like what, a week, and then come back for no reason. That's what's gonna happen.
That's the story of Bronny James for you in a nutshell. It really is the story of Bronny James in a nutshell. We're gonna get to the Rockets now because I know I was sizing Alec up for this one. The Rockets at the moment they're 5th in the Western Conference standings, but they have elevated their play so much from last year. And I think the addition of Kevin Durant has benefited the young guns who are on the team right now. I mean, they showed a lot of heart and a lot of grit in that opening game against the Thunder. They've played pretty well ever since, but like I said, it's still early in the year. But what has gelled so far, Alec, when you look at this Rockets team?
When you look at the Houston Rockets, and yes, we lost to the Nuggets, but most of our losses have been tight losses. We haven't lost by more than 11 points in any of our losses. The first two, they were losses of just 1 point, and that includes the double overtime game against the Thunder. That game was the statement. We are here. This is a team that has the best offense in the NBA, scoring at a pace that nobody has ever seen before. And the addition of Kevin Durant was the biggest X factor to this boost. At half court, we ailed badly last year. Now we're in the top 5 in half court offense. True shooting percentage took a jump, but it's just a clear reflection of the impact that he has. It's not just with someone willing to take the last shot, because we're seeing some of our guys be willing to take more jump shots. We saw this with Şengün. We saw this with Jabari Smith, and we saw this with Tari Eason before his injury. Reed Shepherd has been a huge presence off the bench. He's not in our starting 5, but he's been a huge presence in our closing 5. Free throws has been another factor. Last year, we had the second best record in the West, despite being the worst free throw shooting team in the league. And that reared its ugly head in that 7-game series against the Warriors when we missed 60 free throws. Having KD puts a huge boost onto that.
Absolutely.
And plus, when you have Cam Hodges, their assistant coach, having each player sign a contract that stipulates how many free throws they will take to make in practice before they can leave. They would have to make in practice before they could leave. That's a commitment to addressing a clear weakness on the team from last year. And the players have made a huge commitment onto that. And it's showing.
They have improved. I'm looking at their stats right now. They are shooting 42% from 3 so far this season. That's number 1 in the NBA. And they're number 1 in the NBA, averaging 49.5 rebounds per game.
Yeah, and that is also noticeable in offensive rebounds per game, because the Rockets are have the tallest lineup in the league at one point, and at several points you'll see them having 4 guys on the court that are 6'11" with Smith, Durant, Şengün, and Steven Adams. That bodes well for offensive rebounds.
And you mentioned that free throw percentage has gone up. I can't tell you what their free throw percentage was last year, but their free throw percentage this year is it's a hair under 79%, which is still respectable.
It's better than last year.
Yeah, for sure. I think it also hurt them in the playoffs when they couldn't make free throws against the Golden State Warriors, and Golden State took advantage of that.
Yep. Amon
But-
Thompson needed to improve on that, and he did.
Yep. Like they're improving. And sometimes, like we mentioned before, LeBron, veteran leadership taking over, veteran leadership and good coaching are helping this Rockets team improve. Because, like I said, even though they were the 2 seed in the West last year, they were clearly flawed. And now here they are.
Yeah, that's when Kevin Durant comes in. No Fred VanVleet is going to be a huge hole, but he's basically like a player coach. When he's not on the court, he's coaching.
Absolutely. 100%. All right. Now we're going to get into some NHL before we get into our big story. We have freak accidents all over the place, it seems like, in the NHL. Eetu Luostarinen burned himself during a barbecue incident not too long ago. He's week to week. Last thing the Florida Panthers want to do is lose more people, and apparently they just keep losing people. I can't explain it. I would talk about the Devils, but I think I don't want to get Kevin involved in a rant again because
It's all right.
we got a lot. He did his Fresh Finder Friday last week. I want to save Kevin a little bit of energy. But on the positive side of the NHL, and I never thought I'd be talking about this team, the Chicago Blackhawks are in playoff position in the early going of the NHL season. And part of that has to do with their young star right now, in Connor Bedard, who was the 2023 number 1 overall pick. Look at the way he's been playing. He scored 13 goals in the first 19 games. It took 82 games for him to score 29, which is pretty incredible. So the kid is taking a jump forward, and I think that this Blackhawks team, like, they're improving in a lot of areas, and what has transcended to Bedard before he came to the NHL is translating here. And I think it's amazing, Alec, that this Blackhawks team, we didn't expect much of them this year, but they're doing all right.
Yeah. We didn't expect this team to be in the playoff consideration heading into this season, but we're seeing an obvious jump from Connor Bedard into the superstar that he is hyped up to be. You know what they say, shooters shoot, and Bedard is a natural shooter, and he is shooting the puck with confidence, that he is elevating his game. He even got to don the A on his jersey, which he got his first gig as an alternate captain with the injuries to Nick Foligno and Jason Dickinson. Next man up mentality is working, and that applies to Tyler Bertuzzi, who is the power forward on the second line that's centered by Frank Nazar, who had his big extension over in this offseason, and it's already paying off. We're seeing someone who could be a 50 to 60 point player this season and be a core face in the future with Nazar to complement Bedard as the future 1-2 punch. It's the best string of hockey that the Blackhawks have played since the Taves and Kane era. It's not just Bedard, Nazar, Bertuzzi, or anyone on this forecourt. Let's give a shout out to Spencer Knight, the guy who they got from the Florida Panthers when trading away Seth Jones. He's getting consideration for the third goaltender spot on Team USA in the Olympics, by the way. And if there's one guy who has been as valuable as, if not more than Bedard, it's Knight. The Blackhawks would not be in the playoff conversation if it were not for Knight. And this trade has been as evenly balanced as it gets. He's not just owning the crease, he is living up to the expectations placed upon him when he was the first goaltender off the board in his draft. Well done.
Seriously, like, you got to give this team a lot of respect and a lot of credit because they were at the bottom of the barrel for the NHL for the last few seasons. And right now, even though they're a far cry from what they were in 2014 when they last won when they were 17-0-3 in their first 20 games, they're doing good for themselves. Like, they're exceeding expectations, and so far they're going to keep it up. And I'm seeing Tennessee is beating Florida 31-0. Oh my God.
Well, speaking of teams that have just won regulation loss through the first 20 games of the season, the Colorado Avalanche. They're just the fourth team in history to accomplish this.
Yes, I was just going to say that. The Colorado Avalanche did something that only 3 NHL teams have done ever, and that's only lose one time in regulation in their first 20 games. The Avalanche have been really good, and I think that them being a former Stanley Cup champion, I think, is definitely beneficial. I have no idea like how this team is getting it, where they're getting this from, but I like where this team is going. And even though it's still early in the NHL season, I mean, we're looking at the playoff standings right now. The Panthers are not in the field right now, and neither are the Edmonton Oilers, which is the Stanley Cup Finals match of the last 2 years. But again, teams get off to a hot start, you got to sustain it. You got to stay consistent. And unfortunately, I hate to say this to Kevin, but the Devils have just fallen apart since losing Jack Hughes in a freak accident.
I mean, no kidding. I mean, like I'll give him credit for that first game without Jack Hughes being the Capitals in a shootout. That was a nice, gritty, gutsy win. Then that game afterwards against the Lightning just played better all around. Kudos to them. Then the game before tonight's game against the Panthers. I mean, Devils I thought played really well. They were peppering shots on Bobrovsky, but Bobrovsky was really good. He saved them all, and they lost 1-0. So like a little bit of a tough one. Tonight against the Flyers is absolutely unacceptable. They led 1-0, and then they let the next goal happen because of a power play. And then they turned the puck over 3 times, and then the Flyers score 3 times in 90 seconds. It's unacceptable. And now, Devils got another goal, but they're down 5-2 now with 9:22 left to go in the third period. And it's just like it just baffles me, like how different of a team that this Devils team is without Jack Hughes on the ice. It's just like that. There's no next man up mentality. Like
Yes.
you figured that guys like Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, Timo Meier, guys like that would step up, but they really aren't. I mean, Timo Meier got a goal tonight. Cool. I expect a guy like him to get that. But the defense, like, it's just not the same. Jack Hughes is a guy that, like, whenever someone's in trouble, like going off the boards, like he comes in, gets the puck, cleans it up, gets a rush on the other side, or he's the one that is leading everything. He's the one that it can get cross ice and can get into across the neutral zone, get into the offensive zone of whatever team it is, and kind of make an elusive pass. He runs this entire team, Jack Hughes.
Yeah.
There's really not another guy that can really do that. Besides, I guess maybe Nico Hischier, but no disrespect to Nico Hischier, but he's not Jack Hughes. I'm sorry, he's not. And like there's also young guys on here that have stepped up. Like I understand, like Gritsuk has stepped up pretty nice. Simone Nemeth has stepped up pretty nice too.
He has.
Siegenthaler, he's done good defensively, but I got to get on real quick. He is not good with puck control. I'm sorry. Whenever Siegenthaler gets the puck, he either turns it over or he just gets body slammed in the inboards and just like makes a careless pass. Or it's just, I wouldn't mind if we traded Siegenthaler to get Quinn Hughes. I'm being dead serious about that or even Dougie Hamilton. Even though we got him back, he's always been injury prone, and I'm sure like a team like the Canucks would maybe bite at getting an A+ defender like him. But this team is just, they're turning the pucks over. They're getting themselves into penalties too much, and they're just not disciplined. I mean, like there's only so much that both Jacob Markstrom and Jake Allen can do to protect pucks. I mean, like I think they're doing fine, all things considered. But when you're turning the puck over and you're not being as aggressive and playing too conservative and having too strong of passes and forcing turnovers and all of that, it's not going to bode well for them. I don't care how good your goaltending is. If you can't have good offense, you can't win games. Period. This is just another season of the Devils like not having Jack Hughes, and you're seeing why. This is the product you're going to get without Jack Hughes, and it's very disappointing. And like you've got to try to find a way to right the ship, because right now, after tonight, you're going to be 1-3 without Jack Hughes. It's not a good sign.
And the Islanders are catching up to them for second place in the Metro, which I never thought would be possible. I mean, losing first place in the Metro, you kind of expected that the way they've been playing recently without Jack Hughes. But the Islanders, that's a story in its own right. I didn't think they were going to be that good to begin the season, but my God.
Matthew Schaefer, everyone. He makes Islander hockey fun.
He does. He really, really does. All right. So before we get into our first break, I do want to bring up a topic of discussion that I didn't think we were going to get into, but I'm a big wrestling fan, so I had to mention this. So for those of you who watch Monday Night Raw or wrestling at all, John Cena, the 17-time world champion, made his final Raw appearance in Madison Square Garden and the last Raw appearance of his career as a whole period. And a lot of people are on the fence about this guy if we love him or hate him. Obviously, there's a even balance of both. But me being the wrestling fan, I remember growing up in when I was a kid. I used to watch wrestling all the time when I was a kid. I still kind of watch it to this day, but not to the extent when I was a kid. And John Cena was this guy that a lot of people loved. He was selling merchandise like crazy. He got the fans riled up. He participated in a lot of WrestleMania matches and a lot of pay-per-view matches. 100 pay-per-view wins, by the way. But I just always remember he was just charismatic. And even though people don't see him that way because of pacemaker and also his relationship with Nikki Bella. Be that as it may, the guy was committed to his craft. And one thing I will also say about Cena, and I mentioned this before, and Kevin knows where I'm going with this. Cena's was one of the first wrestlers to be in the polarizing category. And what do I mean by polarizing? You either absolutely love him and you want to give him a big old hug, or you absolutely despise him and you want to punch him in the face. Meaning there was no in between. That's what it was with Cena. The first wrestler to be in that category. And yeah, there are a lot of people who, and Pitt's up 35-14. There you go, Alec.
Can you see me?
Now I can.
Oh yeah.
Now I can. But the word polarizing didn't apply in wrestling until John Cena came in. And we see that a lot in pop culture. Listen, Stone Cold Steve Austin wasn't polarizing. Everyone loved Stone Cold Steve Austin. Same with Hulk Hogan. And really with a lot of people, it wasn't that way. And now like Roman Reigns comes in and he's polarizing and people are on the fence about him. And then even though the Devils just scored a goal to make it 5-3, I don't know how that goes. But you're gonna get people who you either love or you hate. Like for instance, I shouldn't be saying this, but I'll say anyway. I hate Taylor Swift, much like millions of people. But you know what? There are a lot of people who love her music, and there are a lot of people who hate her music, like me. But you know what? She's successful. And actually, one thing of polarizing athletes that I think they all have in common is that they're shoved down your throats. And sometimes you take it or you just spit it out. That's really what you do. So before we get into commercial break, I do want to ask each of you who you think the most polarizing athlete of any sport, past or present, is in your mind. I'm going to start off with John here.
Or come back to me.
Okay. Alec?
I'll let Kevin go first here.
Kevin?
Okay, everyone just passing, huh? Okay.
Okay.
I feel like there's a lot of guys that you can really put in that category. But for me, I think Tom Brady, I think he's got to be up there as probably one of the more polarizing figures because you obviously know that he's the GOAT in terms of quarterbacks. There's absolutely no way you can dispute that. But also, like growing up, I hated Tom Brady as a Giants fan. Of course, like feel like I'm not the only one who's hated him. I mean, like, and he was an incredible quarterback, like back when he started playing. And I will say, like, as like a little bit of a hater here and there, I thought he got lucky on 3 of those Super Bowls. I think did. Like that one with the tuck rule got kind of lucky. The one against the Seahawks because Marshawn Lynch didn't run the ball, got lucky there. And then the Falcons imploding 28-3, got kind of lucky there because he had a great defense. So I'll say that, but I digress. Tom Brady is probably the most polarizing player figures in my eyes, and also dude's kind of a bit of a weirdo. Like when he's not playing football, I mean, you see like reports of him like kissing his 12-year-old son on the lips. Kind of weird.
Hey yo,
kind of weird, but still a great player.
No chill. I actually like Tom Brady because I actually kind of like Tom Brady because he did give the Giants 2 Super Bowls. God damn, Kev.
I mean, it's kind of weird.
Who cloned your own dog?
Oh my! I will say on my own behalf. Now you mentioned that I may want to bring up another quarterback, Aaron Rodgers.
That's a good one.
And talking about Packers quarterbacks, Brett Favre, another good one.
Yeah, that's a good poll. Those are 2 good polarizing figures. Now, let me ask you a question. When you said Aaron Rodgers, were you on ayahuasca when you said this?
Absolutely not.
Okay, good. John, in your mind, who's the most polarizing athlete / figure that you know of?
I think there's a lot out there. It's hard for me to pick just one. You think of Dennis Rodman. He was very polarizing during his time with the Bulls. And even before that, when he was on the Pistons. Another athlete that comes to my mind has to be T.O. He was very polarizing during his time with the Cowboys. I still quote him to this day. He T.O. has some great one-liners, and one of them was I'm about me some me.
Yep.
And then the other one was Cash Money, homie. Because somebody asked him how he was gonna get paid, how he got his contract, and he's always said that he got cash when that's not true. They always write you a check, but
T.O.
and then I think wrestlers are there's a lot of controversial wrestlers out there. Hulk Hogan was controversial during his time. There was a lot of people that did not like Hulk Hogan.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Glad you mentioned him. I hate him.
There you go. See.
See,
And then there's just some players. I mean, I remember the Red Sox Yankees rivalry. There's some polarizing players. Was it Ortiz that was
David
always
Ortiz,
trying
yeah.
to trying to hit some of the batters, and he's always doing. Remember.
The 5th of November?
So yeah, there's a lot of polarizing players out there, especially in sports. Ego's always going to be involved. So you can go down the list. Tom Brady has to be one of the ones at the top, though, Kev.
I think so because listen, the dude is a strange guy, but you know what? He was successful, and I listen. We won 2 Super Bowls off of him, so I
that's
respect
right.
him.
Damn right we did.
Damn right, especially
Live it in the past. Live it in the past, like we do.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, I'm glad we had this little bit of a discussion, but we gotta get into our sponsor. This show is sponsored by DAS Technology Consulting. So DAS Technology Consulting is all about IT infrastructure needs with 30 years of experience in data center services and OEMs and third-party maintenance. They are the company for you to get your IT infrastructure needs done. And if you don't believe me, here's a clip from Darren Sirianni, the Chief Sales Officer of the company. Take a listen.
Our approach at DAS Technology is simple. At DAS Technology, we offer a very unique approach by providing our clients a single point of contact for all their mission-critical data center demands. DAS Technology Consulting is a global leader in data center services, specializing in delivering cutting-edge, best-of-breed enterprise solutions. With a focus on innovation and reliability, DAS provides worldwide storage, server, and networking solutions that are tailored to meet the evolving demands of the modern data-driven world.
Thank you, Darren Sirianni, DAS Technology Consulting, for sponsoring. We greatly appreciate everything that you do for us. But with that comes our number 2 of the show. Again, Matt Sirianni, Kevin Zaleskovich, Alec Nava, John Mulch. We have a lot of college football. We have a lot of NFL to get to. We got fresh spreads. We got All-State Playoff Predictor courtesy of ESPN. We'll dive into that and maybe dive into some teams' playoff chances as of now, although the tracker might change given some results today. We'll dive into that a little bit more. But we got our number 2. We're going to start off with college football to begin our second hour. And for those of you who are unaware, the rankings came out for 1 through 12. And where do I begin? The top 3 are the same. And I think that really, the American Athletic Conference, putting Tulane in there when North Texas, who, by the way, got ranked for the first time in 66 years, should be considered in the AAC. I know the AAC is really good, but one team that I've brought up, and this is also a group of 5 conference champion in the running, because if those of you who don't know the playoff format, it's 5 conference champions and 7 at-large bids, but one of those conference champions has to be outside of the Power 4, ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12. And that group of 5 that they're looking at is the AAC, although in the Sun Belt Conference, James Madison's been running roughshod over the Sun Belt Conference, which is not as talented, but James Madison's a much better product than some of the AAC teams in there. And I know John might disagree with that, but sometimes you got to go with the team that just dominates their conference and knows how to put up a good offense. Now, although James Madison did almost lose to Washington State today, they did what they had to do. They won. But prior to the Washington State game, they were killing the Sun Belt, and they only had one Power 4 game, and that was against Louisville, where they lost 28-14. But James Madison's resume is good, unfortunately, their conference is not. John, when you look at James Madison, does this scream playoff team ahead of anyone in the AAC? You're shaking your head no.
No, I like JMU. I like they have what somebody in the tri-state area would call chutzpah. But they're not a top 12 team. They do not belong in the NCAA playoffs as far as I'm concerned. I watched Tulane win today. I watched them beat Memphis last week. They definitely belong. They're gonna lose to one of the top teams in this bracket. But they have definitely, as far as I'm concerned, earned their way into the playoff spot that they have that they're going to end up with. There's a lot more controversy to talk about surrounding Notre Dame or um, how Ohio State hasn't played anybody for the last 5 games, and they're one of the top 3 teams. So for me, there's more controversy there and more to talk about with those 2 teams, and then Tulane, who has played their hearts out the last couple weeks.
To put into perspective part of what John said, Ohio State played Rutgers today. My alma mater. We suck. Let's tell you everything you need to know. And then, Texas A&M, they played Samford today. I mean, come on now. I don't get why SEC teams get one crapshoot game where they get a Division II or your grandmother's favorite team from Division II, and they call it a game, and it's not conference. What's the point of this? And then Indiana, if they had lost to Penn State, that would have been really bad. Because if you look at Indiana's schedule, I know I've been hyping them up a lot, but they haven't really played anybody. And then, you mentioned Ohio State's lack of a schedule. They got Michigan next week. Michigan sucks this year. So,
no matter what Portnoy says,
screw that guy.
Screw that guy.
His opinion is irrelevant.
Well, knowing how this rivalry has gone recently, Michigan somehow is going to find a way to win it against Ohio State.
Well, Ryan Day struggles against Michigan. I don't know why.
For some reason. Even though Bryce Underwood is talented and all.
Yeah. It's so strange. It's like they're kryptonite. He can't beat them. I think he beat him one time, but that's it.
I think Jeremiah Smith is probably the Heisman Trophy winner this year, and I think they handle Michigan pretty well.
That'd be pretty interesting to see if they could say, "Hey, we can beat Michigan fair and square."
Julian Super Saiyan.
He's awesome. He's been awesome this year. He I think is the most underrated player on that Ohio State team, and people don't really talk about him because they love Jeremiah Smith so much, and the defense is really good. But Ohio State is the complete package, in my opinion, in the Big Ten. Even though they got nobody, they can definitely prove themselves when they go to the Big Ten championship game and face Indiana, which I think is not going to happen. I think Indiana wins because I've been saying that weeks now, but we'll see what happens there. So for the playoff field as of now, this is what we have. We have Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, and Georgia as the top 4. 5 is Texas A&M. 6 is Ole Miss. 7 is Oregon, who won a big game against USC today to keep that spot. 8 is Oklahoma, who again won to keep their spot. Notre Dame's up at 9, and they're probably going to stay at 9 because they're crushing the hell out of Syracuse right now. Alabama, after taking a loss to Oklahoma, fell to 10. Miami is 11, representing the ACC, which is a shocker because they have 2 conference losses and might not see the championship game. Yep. And Tulane is 12, representing the AAC. John, you're pointing at your brain. What's going on there?
Well, weren't you guys surprised when I said that Miami still had a chance?
Yeah, but
I picked them to win it all still, remember? I didn't deviate from it.
You did. That was weeks ago, but then the loss to Louisville happened.
Right, and I didn't change my mind either. I thought about it, but I kept it.
And then the loss to SMU happened.
That might affect it more. So
Georgia Tech looks horrible against Pitt right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the only other team that actually looks decent is SMU.
Yeah, that's the undercard, the underrated, the wild card of the ACC.
If it's SMU Miami for the ACC championship, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, but in order for that to happen, as Miami would need Virginia to lose, which
Yeah,
is going
still
to be hard
possible. Yeah.
because they play Virginia Tech next week, and Virginia Tech is awful. So that's very interesting possibility to see. But listen, Miami might not even see it unless someone who has an at-large bid falls really badly. That'd be the only way I can see Miami getting in. But I do have the All-State Playoff Predictor. So what is the All-State Playoff Predictor? It's this feature that ESPN has where you can click on a team who's in playoff consideration and say and give possible scenarios. This used to be 538, but then they ended that a couple of years ago, which is unfortunate because I like that thing. But basically, what they do is you click on a team, they give you your remaining 2 or 3 games, and then they ask, will this team be a conference champion? And then they will give you their seeding and their percentages and then make it the playoff afterwards. And that's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to ask each of you to give me one team, and I will go through the scenarios with them as to whether or not they'll make the playoff. I'm going to start with Kevin. All of the contenders for a college football playoff spot, would you like me to go over?
Well, might as well go over Miami since I had them to win it all.
Okay, Miami it is. So they're going to beat Virginia Tech today. They already did that. And if they beat Pitt, let's just say they don't make it to the championship game. Here's what will happen. They will make the playoff as a 10 seed. But one thing that this doesn't take into account is they don't factor in what if another team loses? What if Alabama loses to Auburn in the Iron Bowl? They don't factor in that kind of thing. So if Miami doesn't make the ACC championship game, but wins their final 2 games, and then maybe by miracle someone loses out, which I'm seeing right here could be someone from the SEC, probably
Texas could lose next week and be out.
Yes, that's a good
True,
one.
yeah.
So that's one thing that they're not taking into account. But
Exactly. Yeah.
Miami hypothetically would be in the playoff if they don't make the ACC championship game, assuming they win out.
Okay.
Alec, when it comes to you next, give me one team that you would like me to look over.
Let's see. Texas Tech, because they've been very impressive this season.
Okay, Texas Tech. So I'm going to go over them. So they're good. Their only game left is at West Virginia. Dog poop West Virginia. Let's just
Apparently
say
not dog poop enough because they beat us, who are ranked for some reason.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry about that, Kev. I'm sorry about that. So if this team they're in the Big 12 championship game, regardless of what happens against West Virginia. But let's just say they lose the Big 12 championship. Let's see what happens here. They're looking like they're going to be a playoff team. They're going to look like the 6th seed in the playoff format with the Big 12 champion being them. Oh no, it says BYU would be conference champion in this scenario if they were to lose the Big 12 championship, because it's looking like it's going to be BYU, Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship. We know how that went last time a few weeks back. But let's just say they win. Then it says they would be then it says they would get a top 4 bye. So that's the difference between winning a conference championship and losing a conference championship. John, you're shaking your head. What's up?
They'd be like an 11 or 12 if they lost the conference championship.
Yes, they would.
Yeah.
And speaking of John, give me one team that you would like me to look over.
Utah, give me 2. Talercios, sorry. I have fried ravioli on my brain.
So do I.
Let's see. Let's do Oregon just for West Coast sake.
Okay, we'll go over Oregon. So we saw them beat USC today, so we're going to give them that win, and then they face Washington on the road in Washington. Let's say they win that game as well because Oregon's been playing really well. Now, let's say they don't make the conference championship game, although there is a slim possibility that does. They would need to take care of business, and they would need Indiana to lose to Purdue. That would be the only way that they make the conference championship game. But let's just say for all intents and purposes, they don't make the game in Indianapolis, Indiana. They're still in the playoff position, and they're looking at maybe an 8 or 9 seed, according to the All-State Playoff Predictor. Not bad. And then I'm going to go over one team that fascinates me, and that is Oklahoma. So they beat Missouri today. I'm gonna put that in, and then they host LSU in their final game next week. Let's say they win that, they're not going to make it to the SEC championship game in Atlanta. But according to the playoff predictor, Oklahoma is a 9 or 10 seed according to the playoff format, assuming they win out next week against LSU. So that's the all-state playoff predictor for you.
Can you do Ole Miss real quick?
Ole Miss?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go over them. So they got the one game against Mississippi State on Friday of next week. Let's go over that. Let's say they win that. Let's say they don't make the conference championship game, and let's see what happens. They're probably looking at a playoff spot regardless.
7-ish.
They're looking at a 6 or 7 seed according to the predictor.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay.
Which sounds about right.
I'm not going to say a certain thing about that.
Okay.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm not going to say it either.
All right.
Can we just let that meme die already, please?
Please.
All right. Now that you mentioned it, I got to hear what that thing is that you're going to say.
No, Alec, don't do it. Don't do it, Alec.
He's walking away.
Are you going to guarantee something, Alec?
No, don't do it, Alec. It's a trap.
It is a trap. You're never making me do it, and I will never do it.
Good.
I'm going to call you Admiral Alec Bar from now on because it's a trap.
It's a trap.
Have you ever seen the vaping commercial where they say, "Oh, baby's not gonna kill me. 'Tis indeed a trap." Like I said in the previous episode, don't smoke, folks. It's bad for you. Don't do it. Oh man, I will never smoke ever. As we got someone who doesn't smoke either coming through the camera.
Sorry.
Someone who doesn't know how to park, apparently.
Stop it.
We got no chill on this show today. My goodness. All right, we're going to get into NFL before we get into fresh spreads and eventually fresh pound or fried. So, this episode is called The Mighty Have Fallen, and it's for damn good reason. The Denver Broncos in Mile High on Sunday of last week knocked off the Kansas City Chiefs 22-29 or 22-19. And the most poetic thing that they did when they got the ball in field goal range, Bo Nix took a knee to center the ball for the field goal attempt, something that they didn't do last year. The field goal attempt last year when they faced Kansas City was a little more to the right, and it caused the runners off the edge to block the field goal attempt. They played smart this time. They centered the field goal attempt, and then Will Lutz drilled it from 35 yards out. That, to me, was, I think, smart, and that was absolutely gutsy by Denver to play the way they did. Now, Sean Payton is still a fantasy terrorist, but you know what? The Broncos know how to get it done when they need to.
Vance Joseph. Give credit to him for revitalizing this defense. His tenure as a head coach with the Broncos sucked.
Yeah.
But him as a defensive coordinator is his bread and butter. And him boosting this defense as a DC is taking them over the top. Who could have seen them rise up to AFC West leader? I saw them as a playoff team ahead of the Chargers, but as the leader of the AFC West, you might be thinking that Peyton Manning is back in prime form. They let them have a time machine on the way back. But Bo Nix, who kind of reminds me of a right-handed Tim Tebow at times.
Yeah.
That actually is impressive. And their running game is actually no joke. What you mentioned about the mighty have fallen, what a twist it is, in which the Chiefs, they were perfect last year in one-score games. Or Chiefs Devil Magic. What Chiefs Devil Magic? That's been stolen by the Broncos now. It's their Devil Magic for the taking right now, if you know what I mean.
I get what you're saying, yeah. But
yeah,
the Chiefs are getting what they got. The luck that the Chiefs had last year is getting thrown in their face this year.
I mean, yeah, they can't run the ball to save their lives.
Nope.
No matter the heroic efforts of Patrick Mahomes or any of the receivers, they can't run the ball. And I'm sorry, But a healthy Isaiah Pacheco does nothing for this because he's been ineffective too.
Well, he's out this week, so that tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah. And Steve Spagnuolo, for as aggressive as he can be, has been surprisingly conservative, which is the shocking part of it. I've been on record calling out Matt Nagy time and time, but this is an issue that's bigger than Matt Nagy. This team, as it stands, is the most talented team that is 5-5.
Yeah.
And yet they have one less win than the Carolina Panthers.
That's
Who
amazing.
saw this coming?
That is amazing.
I did. I saw it coming. I've been
You
calling
did,
it.
John.
You
I've
lied.
been calling
You're
it.
lying.
No, I'm not. I'm not. Go back and review the tape.
Why the you lying? Why you stop freaking lying?
Nobody wants to see your knee, Alec.
I mean, the people who know about Vine do.
You and I were arguing about this at the beginning of the season. I said the Chiefs are not who they used to be.
You want to know something? If you follow John Welch on Instagram, he put a thing on Instagram that says the Chiefs 5-5, the Kansas State 5-5, Kansas 5-5.
Yeah.
And then he puts a thing of Thanos next to it. Everything's balanced now. It's so freaking weird, man. That's crazy.
Speaking of balance, those who saw mid-2000s football will see this comeback because the Broncos, Colts, Patriots, and Steelers are leading their divisions.
You want to know what's amazing about that? It's the fact that these teams that are in first place in their respective divisions in the AFC, we thought they were going to be good, not this good.
Yeah. Who could have seen this?
Remember when I said that the Colts will probably be the division winners because Houston's going to suck?
You did say that.
Well, look at Houston now beating Buffalo in a trap
So
game.
not to tease fresh spreads, but I definitely have a juicy one for parlays this week.
Oh my God! And by the way, shout out to Alec who said that Josh Allen sucks against the Houston Texans over the course of his career because that continued on Thursday night.
Yeah, he called it for sure.
Big surprise. And look at my absolutely not surprised face because aside from the Chiefs, the Texans are the other kryptonite of the Bills. Their defense knows how to play against them. And they sacked Josh Allen 8 times.
Yep.
And that's considering that the Bills converted on a 4th and 27 on a play that Ben Johnson would approve.
Right. That's actually
sweet hook and ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
the
Yeah.
hook and ladder.
But here's Kalen Bullock to intercept Josh Allen twice.
Yep.
What's frustrating to me about that whole situation is if Kean Coleman had been in uniform, he would have been right there to catch that ball.
Yep, 100%. They miss him 100%. They miss him. You mentioned the Carolina Panthers, John. They're only a half game back of the NFC South, which I would not have saw coming at all. And
I think the Bucks should be scared, especially after they lose tomorrow to the Rams.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert: they're going to lose to the Rams in Los Angeles, and that will open the door for Carolina to try to beat San Francisco, which is easier said than done because the Niners are not that bad this year. But the Panthers are good. Bryce Young has stepped up, and you know
49ers just gave Brissett the best game of his life. I think Bryce Young is gonna go off.
Very possible.
Whoa. Now that you mentioned Jacoby Brissett about the 49ers giving the best game of his life, the 49ers still won that. And it wasn't even a close one, 41-22.
Well, that was because Arizona decided to score 2 garbage time touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that's what happened.
Yeah.
Michael Penix injured his leg. He will be out for the rest of the season as he gets surgery. And Drake London is also banged up. And no one's more happy about that than John Welch because if you follow us on Foursquare Fantasy, Love Shack has 2 Falcons, which being Bijan and Drake London. London was one of her best receivers, and he's going to be missing a little bit of time. And John is right there. The 1 seed is in his grasp.
Kevin, you need to give me the win. You win, I win I'm
glad that London's hurt.
If you win and I win, John, and Lily loses, then what that would do is it would create a three-way tie for that 1 seed.
With me being winner because I have the most points. 4.
Correct. Which, by the way, you put a 200 on Jake Hogger last week.
Yeah, I play Rito, and I think I'm going to blow him out this week too.
Possible. It really is possible. Now, keep in mind of what's at stake. The 1 seed, you're most likely playing either Ritos or Sammy. 2 seed, you're playing either Ritos or Sammy. 3 seed, you're playing either Jake, Alec, or Kevin, depending on who falls at 6. Probably not Kevin, because I think Kevin's locked in at 4 or 5. But it's gonna be an interesting finish to the top and middle range. I think the bottom 2 are kind of solidified. I hate to say it.
If I play Sammy, I'm just gonna drop into the Fantasy Foursquare chat reverse noise because she can't park.
Why do you have to keep using that as a running tag for Sammy?
Oh, she can only go backwards.
She's already it felt a 20 bomb from James Cook. She didn't need more slander this week.
Oh my god. We do not care today, do we? We do not care. All right.
I guess I'm the only one who cares.
I mean, but Matt, you didn't care when you picked the Panthers, remember?
Oh yeah,
Alec, if you really cared, you would have given us a guarantee.
Well, I will guarantee you that I'm not doing a certain meme that we talked about earlier.
We will. Okay, fine. We can guarantee one thing. You got Fresh Founder Fry this week. Before we get into Fresh Founder Fry this week, we got to do our fresh spreads idealized by Talercio's. Fresh spreads for week 12. Let's build it. And by the way, I'm going to talk to the guys from Talercio's after Thanksgiving. I went into Talercio's last week. They were swamped, and they're going to get swamped this week because they got Thanksgiving orders coming in that they're going to cater. So we're going to talk to Talercio soon, just not this upcoming week because they got a lot on their plate, both figuratively and literally, a lot on their plate. But let's get into fresh spreads. This is the segment where we pick all the games based on spreads. We got 13 minutes to go before we get into Fresh Founder Fry. We're going to go through these spreads super duper quick. All right, so we got Alex Pittsburgh Steelers at the Chicago Bears. Bears minus 2.5. Kevin.
Gonna be a close one. The Bears look like they're in prime to win this one, but I could definitely see the Steelers win this one. It's going to depend on if Aaron Rodgers is healthy or not. If he's not good to go, I think the Bears win. If he is good to go, I could see the Steelers just squeak it out. But for this one, I'm going to probably say Bears by just a hair.
Now, if Aaron Rodgers plays, keep in mind he owned the Bears. Alec?
True, yeah.
I mean, you mentioned Aaron Rodgers owning the Bears. Do I feel that this Bears owning us and Rodgers owning the Bears cancel each other out? Because the Bears are that one team that we've had trouble up against historically. I'm not kidding. Look it up. And I hate to say this, but Mason Rudolph kind of played better last week when he filled in for Rodgers against the Bengals.
He did.
So even if it's Rodgers or Rudolph, no matter who it is, I feel this is going to be a tight one. But based on gut, I'm going to go Chicago. And I did see a meme lately where I said he did this guy from Pirates of the Caribbean say, "You are the worst 7-3 team I've ever heard of." But the Bears don't care, and they say, "But you have heard of me."
Oh my God. Okay, John.
I didn't even have to think about this one. It will be Mason Rudolph to start. And it's the Bears for me, no doubt.
I'm going with the Bears as well. Easy minus 2.5. Next up, we got the New England Patriots at the Cincinnati Bengals, who will not have Jamar Chase because Jamar Chase likes to spit in people's faces. Patriots minus 7.5. Kev?
Patriots win and easily cover. So with Jamar Chase not playing, that should mean I get a massive points from T. Higgins. So Patriots.
Big fantasy boost. Alec?
Hey, Jamar Chase didn't mean to. It didn't actually spit on Jalen Ramsey. He just meant to disrespect him. And if he didn't want to spit on him, he would rather spit on his helmet and not his jersey. And if the Patriots were to beat the Bengals, they would rather blow them out and not make this a close game.
They're on to Cincinnati. See
what I did there?
John?
Patriots.
Patriots. Okay. I'm going with the Patriots as well. Next up, we got the Minnesota Vikings at the Green Bay Packers. Josh Jacobs is still up in the air. Packers minus 6.5 at home. Kev?
Packers. Kevin O'Connell is still a terrorist. Next question.
Okay, Alec.
Josh Jacobs or not, Packers.
John?
Josh Jacobs will actually be doing some warm-ups, and they'll know after that, right before the game. So he'll be a game time decision. But my only question about JJ McCarthy is, will the Vikings franchise hire Connor Stallion next year? Because Packers.
Interesting. I'll say the Packers as well. That's an interesting question. Next up, we got a game that's not even worth talking about. The Seattle Seahawks at the Tennessee Titans.
Connor Stallion was a sign stealer.
That's right. Seahawks at Titans. Seahawks 12.5-point favorites, Kev.
Seahawks should be winning by far more than that. I would say by maybe like 27 points.
Okay, Alec.
If it's not at least a free score game in victory for the Seahawks, I don't know what to tell you.
All right, John.
So the only exciting thing the Titans have going for them is they activated Xavier Restrepo, so he'll be starting his first game as wide receiver. He was somebody that I was excited about in the draft, and he went to the Titans. Titans are in the middle of a rebuild, so shocker. But I think the Seahawks blow them out. I'll take the Seahawks.
I'm taking Seattle as well. Now we're going to go to another big spread. The New York Giants at the Detroit Lions. Lions favored by 13. Kev?
Even though, like, I thought that the Giants, like, played better with Jameis Winston as his first start as quarterback, and actually made it closer than I expected against the Packers. Lions should be a bounce back win for them after losing against the Eagles. I think Giants get blown out by far more than 13, so easily Lions.
And also a little quick note: Sam Laporta's season is most likely over as he recuperates from back surgery. Alec?
No matter if it's even though they don't have Sam Laporta, it shouldn't be that big of a problem for the Lions to show the wheels. You get Sonic and Knuckles running, you know.
Oh, call the Motor City Kitties, John.
I have Knuckles. I hope Knuckles does good.
Yeah.
I like Winston. I think this will be a shootout. It's tough. I really want to take the points, but I'm gonna have to go with Detroit.
All right, I'm gonna put it this way: Giants lead in the fourth quarter and lose again. I'm calling it.
And
Giants plus 13. Giants plus 13. Next up, we got probably the best game of the 1 o'clock slate. We got the Indianapolis Colts at the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs minus 3.5 in Arrowhead. Kev?
I mean, you would think that this would be an easy one to call, considering like the big difference in record. The Colts, they've got everything good going for them. We know that Daniel Jones is going to probably be good to go to start in this game. Jonathan Taylor, I think, is a clear MVP candidate in my eyes. I've said it like on multiple times on the show. Yeah. Michael Pittman, Tyler Warren, even Alec Pierce has come into the forefront as being really good like the past few games. And the Chiefs, like Alex said, they can't run to save their life. Pat Mahomes does have Rashee Rice to throw the ball to, and even off the suspension. But I feel this is kind of like a make or break game for the Chiefs. I think this is a must-win game for them if they want to have any chance to make the playoffs. So with that being said, I'm going to pick the Chiefs in this one because I think they're going to play with a sense of urgency because I think they know that this is a game that is a must-win for them. So I'm going to pick Chiefs, but just barely. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts absolutely blow them out. But I would just pick the Chiefs because I hope for their sake that they end up with a win because they kind of need it.
I'm not mad at that at all. Alec?
Yeah, I can't fault you for that, Kevin. Well, here's my take on this. The Chiefs will lose one regular season game the rest of the way. It's either going to be this one or Week 18 against the Raiders. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The reason why is because against the Raiders, we might be due for that random game where they lose to the Raiders and the Raiders play their hearts out, screw themselves out of a top pick. That's what it's going to feel like. The Colts, I feel, for now, it seems that all things are going to point towards Jonathan Taylor being in the MVP because quarterback play hasn't really been consistent enough to warrant a quarterback winning the award. The
Yeah.
Chiefs, they need to recognize that they have a sense of urgency because they can't run the ball to save their lives, as
Right.
what Kevin and I mentioned. Steve Spagnuolo has to get back to being the aggressive play caller and to hurry up Daniel Jones, to really pressure him, to test him all that much, to all the extents. Take a page out of the Steelers playbook from when we beat them. You know what? I'm joining you, Kev. I was back and forth with this one, but I'm joining on this one. Chiefs win, cover.
John,
I know you're looking at me, John. I was back and forth with this one. You can't fault me with this one.
It's because of the situation they're in. That's all.
Colts outright win.
Colts outright. I'm not mad at that at all. I'm going with the Colts as well. Literally out of spite. But next up, we got the Jets at the Ravens. Ravens a 2-touchdown favorite, really 13.5 points. Kev?
Ravens have now come back to life now that they got Lamar Jackson back out of quarterback, and it seems like the Ravens are going to continue chugging along the train. This seems like no different, and the Jets in rebuild mode. I wouldn't be surprised if they quote-unquote tank for the rest of the season. I know Tyrod Taylor is going to be the new starter, I believe.
Yep.
Well, Justin Fields. So Ravens should easily win and easily cover.
All right, Alec.
All right. When Texans fans said that they want their team to be at the caliber of the Chiefs and Ravens, I don't think anyone envisioned them having the same 5-5 record, all of them. They wanted to be Super Bowl contenders, not this. Either way, I think this should be easy pickings for the Ravens to win this game outright against the Jets. The Jets are clearly rebuilding, and they want to get high draft picks for this next era of Jets football. You're not going to blow this, right?
John?
So this is a pivotal moment for the AFC North.
Yes.
If in fact the Bears win and the if in fact the Bears win and the Ravens win, that means the Ravens become number 1 in the AFC North and the Steelers become number 2. Having said that, I honestly believe that with Brissett, the Jets can cover, and they'll probably lose by 10. So I'll take the points. I'll take the Jets.
I'll take the Ravens to cover minus 13.5 on that one. There's something about me that thinks that Baltimore is back, and the Jets are just the perfect team to beat up on. Next up, we got a new rookie alert. We're going to the full class. Shedeur Sanders is making his first career NFL start against the Las Vegas Raiders in Vegas, where whatever happens there stays there. Raiders are a 4-point favorite. Kev?
If Sanders' first start is anything like what he did on his last game, then this is going to be a rough game for him because the Raiders' defense at times can be really good, but the offense at times can be really bad. And the Browns' defense has been pretty good this season, all things considered, despite the record. It's the offense that's the big problem. So I think the spread is right on the money. Like I have it at 4 on the thing I'm looking at. So yeah. I think Raiders should win by about that, maybe a touchdown. Browns couldn't make it close because of their defense, but I think the Raiders just barely win.
Low scoring affair in my mind. Alec?
Oh, add Ed Shedeur's name to the ever-growing quarterback shirts. 42 now, 42. Dating back to Tim Couch. Well, now, this is going to be tight, but in my eyes, it's going to be more of a battle for who wants a higher pick. Because both teams are aggravatingly bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Browns defense they can shut down Genty, but in the end, this game's going to be won by the Raiders because Cleveland's just horrible offensively. Horrible.
Poor Kevin Stefanski needs to get the hell out of there. John?
I'm going to surprise you guys. I'm going to say Browns. I'm going to say that Shedeur actually looks good against a really awful Raiders secondary. But I'm going to say Crosby gets about 3 sacks.
Says the guy who ranted about the Browns for 5 minutes on a previous episode.
I just watched what the Cowboys did to the Raiders with their awful defense, and I don't see the Raiders beating Cleveland.
You know, right. Crosby making the Crosby name putting in some more success to the Crosby name.
All right. It's going to be a battle of Myles Garrett versus Lyle versus Max Crosby. It's going to be a battle of the two pass rushers. But on that situation, I'm going with the Raiders. I just don't see Shador doing well. All right, we got to get through these final 5 games really, really quick because we got to get to Fresh Found and Fried. Jaguars and Cardinals. Jaguars minus 2.5. Kev?
Jags easily win and easily cover.
All right, Alec.
Wow.
All right, John.
I think this game it's less than a field goal, which is shocking because I think the Cardinals are a better team. I just don't know if there's any chemistry there. We're talking about the worst 7-3 teams. I think the Jags are probably on that list. I don't believe in them as a playoff contender, but I think they will beat the Cardinals by at least a field goal.
I agree. I think the Jaguars win and cover. All right. This is going to be a tough one, but we got to go quick. Eagles at Cowboys. Eagles a 3-point favorite in Jerry's world. Kev?
Well, it's going to be an easy one. No kidding. Eagles easily win. If the Cowboys thought that celebrating a big Raiders victory was awesome, that brought them back, they're in for a rude awakening when they verse the Eagles. Eagles win easily by 3 scores.
So it was a very interesting story because George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb missed their curfew because they got too drunk at a nightclub the night before. And then they missed the first series because of that. And then they got an emotional charge win from Marshawn Nealon. But, yes, the Cowboys are not that good. Alec?
Garbage.
Eagles by 2 scores. They're going to win and cover confidently.
John?
What's the spread?
Eagles by 3.
3.
Eagles by 3 in Jerry World.
Yep.
I'll say Cowboys.
Really?
I'm going with the Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. I can't do it.
The Eagles offense has been stuttering.
Yeah, but their defense has been incredible, and that's where I'm going to say Philadelphia there. All right, next up, we got the Penix-less Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints. The Saints by 2. Kev?
I mean, even with no Penix and Penix-less, with Kirk Cousins coming back, I still think they can beat the Saints. Despite the fact that the Saints, I think, have been playing, I guess, decent in most of their games, even though that they're only 2-8. I still think Falcons can win and easily cover.
Okay, Alec.
This will be low scoring, but it's still going to be the Falcons winning this one. I don't know why the Saints are even favored in this.
Yeah, it's a bit surprising.
Yeah.
I don't understand. John?
Kev, nobody likes a broken Penix.
Oz.
I'm gonna have to go with the Falcons. They want it. They want to be a contender. I believe in their run game. I don't believe in anything. Are you guys still laughing at that joke?
Seriously?
Falcons and contender is an interest in the same sense is a choice.
I think I'm not saying that that's what I believe. I think that that's what they believe. They look at Carolina and they think that they're better than them. So I think Kirk Cousins will throw to his tight end and to Darnell Mooney a lot, and that the Falcons will cover and beat the Saints.
All right, I'm going to go with the Falcons. I think Kirk Cousins still has a little bit left to get the job done in this one, especially against the Saints team that's still pretty poor. Next up, we got Sunday Night Football. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Los Angeles Rams. Rams are a touchdown favorite, Kev.
I'll say Rams by 10, and again, they're not going to have Bucky Irving. The Bucks are not, but the Rams, I think they're the real deal, and I think they're definitely a top contender in the NFC and could really give maybe the Eagles and Lions a bit of a run for their money. So I'm going to say Rams by 10.
Okay, Alec.
Whose house?
Blues house.
Whose house? UH, baby. I'm just kidding.
Rams house. I'm
Rams
picking
house.
them to win and cover.
Okay, John.
I like the Rams a lot. I watched Bucks just lose to Buffalo. So it's really hard for me to see them beating the Rams, who are a better team.
No Bucky Irving. Got to go with the Rams. And I think the Rams defense is just better against this Bucks offense. The run game's going to get neutralized no matter who the running back is. Then we got the Carolina Panthers at the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football. We got to go through this one because we got to get to Alex Fresh Found and Fried. Panthers a 7.5-point favorite on Monday night. Kev?
Niners win and pull this out, but I wouldn't be surprised if Panthers made it close.
Alec?
Tall order for the Panthers going up against the 49ers, given that it's a 7-point spread. And while the Panthers are 6-5, they are extremely flawed. But knowing by how the Panthers played over the last few weeks, there is a decent chance that this could be made close. I have the Niners winning, but Carolina's going to cover. Bring some hope to CLT.
I like it. John?
I'll take the Panthers.
I'm going to say the Niners win, but the Panthers cover. All right. So the Broncos, Chargers, Dolphins, and Commanders are on a bye, and that's all 32 teams for you this week. Next up, we got to get to my favorite segment of the show. It's called Fresh, Fine, or Fried. The segment where one of us goes on an event for 2.5 or 5 minutes, depending on what we choose to do, and we rate your take on a scale of fresh, fine, or fried. Fresh meaning good, fine meaning okay, or fried meaning, dude, that was wicked and not in a good way. Alex is on the hot seat. Alex is on the hot seat this week. Alex, would you like your take to be 2.5 or 5 minutes?
This is something that I've been teasing since the beginning of this. It's been looking at since the beginning of this month to know where I could be at. And I have an idea about it, but I want to get this because it's a 5-minute take.
Okay, 5 minutes. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Go.
All right. So many people know about the best championship winning teams of all time. 1985 Bears, 2017 Warriors, 2018 Red Sox, 1985 Oilers, to name a few. But what about the most devastating championship losses of all time? Or in the case of championship winners of all time, if you were to talk about motorsports, Lewis Hamilton, Jeff Gordon, and all of that. But what about most devastating championship losses? You think about the Falcons blowing a 28-3 lead, or the then-known Cleveland Indians blowing a 3-1 World Series lead. Want something more recent? The Pacers this year. But what if I told you that a new contestant entered this case? One that happened on the first weekend of this month. No, it's not the Blue Jays. It's devastating and heartbreak, but that wasn't even the most devastating championship loss, in my opinion, that weekend. We have to enter the realm of motorsports on a Sunday afternoon at Phoenix Raceway. Now, Mark Martin holds the infamous distinction of the greatest NASCAR driver to never win a championship, but Denny Hamlin has to be catching up to him right now. And that Sunday was pure pain to watch if you're a Hamlin fan. In his age 44 season, it was incredible to watch him, where he has 6 wins, arguably the best driver of this NASCAR season. And he went by through the first round winning at St. Louis and got by through the third round winning at Las Vegas. 6 wins. And while he did this, missing the Mexico City race because of the birth of his son. It was almost a perfect year for him and his new crew chief, Chris Gale. He was partnered with after Chris Gabehart was promoted to competition director at Joe Gibbs Racing, which is a team that Hamlin drives for. At the championship race at Phoenix Raceway, everything almost went his way. He won the pole, got the best qualifying time at Phoenix. He led 208 laps, the most out of anyone in that field. He got to excellent restarts, where he was the fastest car in the field. Even put a crossover on fellow Championship 4 driver William Byron after a 4-wide battle for the lead between all 4 championship drivers, between Hamlin, Byron, Kyle Larson, and Joe Gibbs Racing teammate Chase Briscoe. The closest competitor to Hamlin has had was someone who barely missed out on the championship spot in Ryan Blaney. But one thing that was commonplace in the championship race was constant tire problems. Briscoe had some of the biggest tire problems, suffering from it in practice and twice during the race. He salvaged for an 18th place finish. But the most notable and consequential tire blowout was with 4 laps to go, and Hamlin had a 3-second lead at that point. William Byron was second and trailing Hamlin by 3 seconds when he blew his tire and led to an overtime restart. That was painful to watch, and I'm not even a Hamlin fan. It's not helping that Chris Gale called for a 4-tire pit stop when everyone else was calling for right sides only, 2 tires, including Byron's teammate and eventual champion Larson. At the final restart, Larson restarted 5th. Hamlin was 10th. There was only so much that Hamlin could do. It's devastating because this could end up being his final shot at a championship. During the season, he signed a 2-year extension to stay with Joe Gibbs Racing, but this could have been his final shot. 1 blown tire by Byron and 1 mistake by Gale end up costing him his last shot. And there's no recovering from this because losses like this, they suck the life out of you. This is eerily similar to when Carl Edwards lost down a championship in 2016 to Jimmy Johnson when he was trying to block Joey Logano. Even sadder about it, Hamlin's father's terminally ill. Don't get me wrong, Larson's a deserving champion, but when you consider all the circumstances, Hamlin losing out his championship is arguably the most devastating championship loss of the century, even
1
including
minute.
every stick and ball sport and motorsport. This not a choke job. It's not a collapse of anything. He lost a hard-fought race. That's the most gut-wrenching about it. And who knows how many more chances as he can get. Kevin Harvick had 9 wins in the 2020 NASCAR season and didn't even make the championship. He never went this deep into the playoffs ever again until the 3rd round ever again in his career. He never won another championship outside of 2014. And Hamlin, I don't know if he'll get that shot ever again. If you're a Hamlin fan listening to this, I'm so sorry for you.
20 seconds to spare. Wow.
Just a virtual hug from me to the Hamlin fans out there. You deserve that.
That's pretty devastating, I gotta say. Kevin, fresh, fine, or fried?
I'll say fresh, even though I'm not the most too much into motorsports. Hearing Alex describe it for me and like all the situations about like his father turning mentally ill, and of course like he brought up like the most recent like devastating losses in like sports, like the Blue Jays where the Dodgers are up there. UH losing the championship game against the Florida Gators a year ago on the last bucket. I can put up there too for my case. But I think I would say fresh for that one because I think like you're right. I mean, like in terms of like of how much he's got left, that could possibly be his final time, and like off of like just like equipment malfunctions and like the blown tires and all that to go to those final overtime races, it's got to be devastating. And I can't imagine what the fans are thinking. I can't imagine what Denny Hamlin is thinking too. So I'll definitely say fresh for that.
Yeah. It feels like if the 1998 Daytona 500 went to overtime when there was a crash over at the backstretch, and Dale Earnhardt never ended up winning that Daytona 500.
All right, John, fresh, fine, or fried?
It's fresh. It's refreshing to hear such a heartfelt take on Hamlin, who's been a big hero for a lot of fans. NASCAR is more technical now than it has ever been. So it's a game of inches. It's a game of miles. It's a game of pit crew members who are at the top of their game. But at the end of the day, it boils down to a quote from Days of Thunder, where they say racing is rubbing.
Right.
Yeah, rubbing is racing.
I like that. Fresh. I mean, when a guy is at the very pinnacle of their profession and they have like very few chances to win championships, it's the most devastating because you don't know if they're going to reach the top of the mountain ever again. And I can go into several instances, and Kevin's going to know where this is going. Novak Djokovic is a good example. I mean, he was at the top of his game, won the 2023 U.S. Open. That was the last championship he's won. And now 2 guys by the name of Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz are just dominating. And Djokovic just can't seem to get back into that position. In the case of racing, go ahead.
I would add for that Novak Djokovic thing, it's not. I wouldn't even call it like recent, but I think when he lost in 2021 to Daniil Medvedev in the U.S. Open to not get the calendar slam, I think was more disappointing than what his recent struggle against Sinner and Alcaraz is now. But I think losing the calendar slam at the last match, I think was more disappointing. But go on.
Yeah, but in terms of racing with Dougie Hamlin, I mean, it's devastating when a guy's at the end of their career and like life's a little bit hard with with a relative being terminally ill. It sucks. Like you want to put yourself in a positive move and go out into the sunset on a high note. That's why when these legendary athletes win championships in their final year, a la Clayton Kershaw, a la Peyton Manning, a la John Elway, it's a feel-good moment because they got a long life ahead of them and a legendary career, and they're probably going to be enshrined in their craft. But for Dougie Hamlin, I mean, you hate to see it in this way. It's such a hard way to go out.
Yeah, just imagine an alternate scenario where he takes 2 tires, just like the rest of the field, and ends up winning the championship, smokes a cigar with Michael Jordan, and tells the crowd, "I beat your favorite driver for one final time on the year."
Would have been a nice moment, I guess, for fans. Before we end the show, we do got to get into our partner for Foursquare Sports and a guy that I met recently in person. I'm talking about MyCamp Solutions. MyCamp Solutions, Octagon Payments, the only wholesale credit card company that gives you great processing rate without signing a long-term contract and amazing customer service. They're located in Arizona. Ryan, who is an amazing guy, met him in person at Carmine's over pasta with sausage and broccoli. Had a great dinner. And we're going to talk to him again, but if you need a little refresher on what we have for him, take a listen.
Hey, I'm Matt Sirianni, and I'm a quarter of Foursquare Sports. And if you don't know me by now, I'm all about Octagon Payments and MyCamp Solutions. MyCamp Solutions is the only wholesale credit card company that will give you amazing processing rates without signing a long-term contract. And along with outstanding customer service, this company is a betting favorite against anyone you put in front of them. So sign up today. Go to www.mycampsolutions.com or www.octagonpayments.com and apply now. MyCamp Solutions. It's a first-round knockout.
I look at that video sometimes and I feel like, wow, I'm a better athlete than I thought. But it's all good fun. Thank you, MyCamp Solutions. And Ryan, we will definitely talk to you sometime soon. Now, as far as Foursquare Sports, this is a positive thing. This is not a bad thing at all. So the four of us talked outside before we even recorded this week's episode. The holidays, they're great. You know, you get to spend time with your loved ones and your family and everything. But my God, when you're trying to schedule secondary or tertiary things, it becomes a lot, especially when one of us has to call high school football games and one of us has college stuff and one of us is trying to become an NFL PA scout, John, or agent. And then one guy is living a really good life with an amazing girl and has a lot of family and party stuff coming up. And his birthday is also in December. Like, it's pretty amazing, honestly. And I love Foursquare Sports. I love doing the show with the three of these gentlemen right here, and I wouldn't change anything that I've done so far. That being said, until December 27th, which is the last Saturday of the year, we're taking a little bit of a, not hiatus, but a little bit of a breather because of everything going on.
Because Matt's calendar is so awesome, none of us can stand him right now.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, yo.
But over the course of those 4 weeks that we're not recording episodes, we will be coming to you in any way, shape, or form, whether it be small little videos we'll put on the Instagram channel or anything along those lines. We will be on top of everything. I've always said that when we record this show, I'm going to do everything I can to get content out there. And sometimes it's not always recording an episode every week, which I want to do, but I look at my schedule. I literally wrote a note of how much I have going on for the rest of this year. And it's like,
It's a lot.
it's a lot. It's actually kind of insane. But I know these guys got my back every step of the way, and we're going to do everything we can to get the ship going. Anyway, from Master Andy, Kevin Zolkog, Alec Nava, John Welch, God bless you all. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Foursquare Sports. We will be around and about, but we will be on top of everything like we always are. God bless you all. And like Spartan Scorpions always said, take care of your elders because old people are the greatest. They're full of wisdom and experience. This has been Foursquare Sports, which is sports as core. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
Hi, everybody. Christopher Mad Dog Russo here. And you know what I do? Foursquare Sports on Sunday nights, 6 to 8, with all those parts of the country taken care of. Listen all the time. You got it. Mad Dog on Mad Dog Unleashed. Listen to my guys. Listen to my guys.